Hi everyone, it's Liam here from Rating the Races. So we're going to have a look at some of the races over the weekend, how they got on. I have to start though with basically saying my recent selections have not been good enough. Whilst we've had a few that have been unlucky in the likes of Grey Dawning and maybe Authorised Speed, we've had a few run well, Phlegmatic, Outer Belly. There's been too many that have disappointed and not won for us basically. The results haven't been anywhere near good enough, and hopefully we can turn that around soon. Hopefully still in 2023, and we can go into 2024 back in a bit of form. Obviously we've got Boxing Day coming up, so hopefully I can find some winners there. The last few probably 3 or 4 bits of analysis have been woeful, and I can only apologise for that. So I want to talk about the races that did happen and what caught my eye going forward. And we'll start off with the first race yesterday at Ascot, where we saw our selection, Rebel Intentions, run no sort of race. Now, what do I mean by he ran no sort of race? If you look at his his win PR, didn't shorten in the run, that means. So during the run, that horse did not get any shorter from his starting price of 5.6. And that tells me that he's ran no sort of race. And if you actually watch the race, he didn't. He was never travelling, one of the first off the bridle, and he's probably done well to finish 6th. Now for me, I actually quite like 2 types of losing horses. The first one is if they run no sort of race. And the reason for that is they can often be kindly treated by the handicapper after that. The handicapper looks at it and goes, oh, I need to drop it £2 then, or £3, when it's just had the one bad run. And I think it was just the one bad run. The actual form of its race that I liked going into this race was with Scalamac Lieth and Seafin. Now, Scalamac Lieth just got done on the line today in another handicap. So I think the form was actually strong. Rebel Intentions has just ran no sort of race. So I don't want to give up on him, and I have added him to my NAGME with the phrase, with the notes of ran no race, could certainly bounce back. Form at Ascot was franked by Scalamac Lieth. So just one to keep an eye out for next time out is Rebel Intentions, in that it could certainly bounce back. When you get horses that finish mid-division and have travelled fine and then just drop away or move into it and don't really find a lot, they're the ones I'm more worried about. If there's no actual excuse as to why that happened. And there are a couple coming up in our video. Second horse I wanted to talk about was Welcome to Cartrice. Now, although the horse won, I just wonder whether the handicapper might be a little bit more lenient now on giving it a handicap mark, because it didn't win that is as impressive as I think it should have done. And with that in mind, the handicapper might go, okay, I'll give it, I don't know what handicap mark he's even thinking of. But say he was to give it a mark of 125, when if it had run and won how it had actually finished second to beat the bat, I think it would have been getting a, £5, £6, £7 more. But we have to see what the handicapper gives him to try and work out whether it was a decent handicap mark or not. But yeah, I actually thought that was a disappointing run from the Paul Nicholls horse, despite winning. We move on to the 135, and this was one of those that frustrated me. I personally think Authorised Speed had not gone for everything. I think he had to slow down into it and then tipped up. But once he got going in it again, I think he would have gone away again from Persian Time. I know the horse has form over a bit further Persian Time, but I still think Authorised Speed would have had too much speed for him. Hopefully the handicapper's kind and maybe puts him up £2. If he puts him up £2, Authorised Speed can certainly go close next time out. And he's one that I'm not going to give up on at all. Let's put him in our NAGME. Fell. Oops. When I think was going to win, 2 to 3 would be fine. As in £2 to £3. Let's just put the pounds there just to make sure that I'm not getting confused with 2 to 3 mile. I think the horse was still... He did race slightly keenly as well, to be fair. So with that out of his system, now he's got the fitness on his side. As long as he gets over that fall, I think he will go really close next time. With Persian Time had previously finished second at Newbury. The horse who had finished 4th that day was Russian Ruler, and he runs on Boxing Day, so keep an eye out for him. And I thought he was given a very similar ride to Persian Time that day. Both of those Nicky Henderson horses were not asked for much of an effort at Newbury. We move on to the 2:30 Ascot, and this was the biggest disappointing race for me out of them. And there was one that I'm giving an excuse to. There's one that I really don't know what to do. The excuse horse is bad. And the reason for that, again, you can see never travelling, never shortened lower than the starting price, suggesting to me that it just never travelled. I never thought he looked like he was going to win. Just seemed to jump a little bit slow, didn't run his race. Maybe he didn't want all that weight on his back as a 4-year-old. He was carrying top weight. I think he was carrying 12.2. As a 4-year-old, maybe that just found him out a little bit. And he didn't like that. So maybe he needs a better race. And I actually put that in my NAGME. Needs to bounce back. A better race, less physical weight. Physical weight is the actual weight on their back. A lot of analysts and pundits you hear talking about, oh, well, that horse is carrying 11.12. That horse is carrying 10.4. So that one has got a better chance, the 10.4. They're not taking into account that the horse who's carrying 11.4 is carrying that because he's that much better. He is a higher rated horse. It's like when you get a feature, Protectorat, for example, last week. At Cheltenham, yes, was carrying 12 stone because he was that much better than the rest of the horses. And, I still think he should have got a lot closer if he'd been given a better ride. So, although that didn't happen for bad, off that top weight, I just think he didn't run his race at all. The horse who I think kind of did run his race, and I don't really know what to do with it now, is Immortal. As you can see, traded down to 1.4, so 2 to 5 in the run. Found nothing. Finished 8th. I have no idea what they're going to do with that. I guess they could try and step it back up in trip. Maybe go 2.5 and see if that works. But I don't know what they're going to do now with Immortal personally. And that would have to be one that I might not be as keen on next time. Moving on to the 305. As you know, I highlighted My Eye as a horse to follow this year over hurdles. He's now gone over fences and he's had 3 runs over fences. He got beat by Complete Unknown at Newton Abbot, which was a good run. He then won a 2-runner race that the runner-up actually pulled up. And then yesterday, his jumping was absolutely woeful. Again, you can see he didn't shorten very much at all, 9.09%, because he jumped atrociously. And for me, I would be giving up on the chasing now and got to go back over hurdles with him. Let his ability shine through rather than testing him over fences. The fact that he couldn't win this grade 2, in my opinion, he got beat by the 2 horses that are probably improving handicappers. Yeah, that would be a concern for Mai Tai. He's got to go back over hurdles for me. If he's not, I would be struggling to pick Mai Tai next time, to be honest. I said the bumper would be a good race. I still think it will be a good race. Let It Rain has run down Brecon Castle. Celtic Dino in 3rd. Look at the form of those horses. First, and first. They were good horses. Let It Rain, I think, is just very, very smart. So, yeah, I'd be very keen to keep an eye on these ones going forward. Again, we look at another Paul Nicholls. Went off 5-2. Second favourite. Finished 12th. I didn't think Welcome to Cartrice ran well for Paul Nicholls. Lallygag pulled up for Paul Nicholls. Did he have any in this? No. Can Do Kid just beat 2 that didn't run very well. And Captain Bellamy ran disappointingly. I think Paul Nicholls' horses are not running up to scratch. And, it started again today. We move on to today's racing. Wrapped Up in May, disappointing, went off 3-1 second favourite, disappointed. I thought Scalamac Leath was going to win, just got run down by Top Cloud. But again, I think that kind of suggests that Rebel Intentions ran no sort of race yesterday, so don't worry about, you got to give that horse another chance. Of those in behind, nothing really caught my eye, apart from maybe Wrapped Up in May, who might go better next time when Paul Nicholls has his horses in a bit better form. I want to have a quick talk about the Mares Novice listed race. Parapuri won it. Little Miss Dante jumped poorly at a few of her hurdles, which cost her any chance. She could be better when she goes away from her Haydock, where they don't have to jump out that really heavy going. Little Miss Dante, she's probably still quite nice, to be fair. Coming to Ascot, again, another Paul Nicholls, 5-6, got beat. Excello beat it. I loved seeing that from Nick Henderson, though, running a 4-year-old over fences. I loved seeing 4-year-olds over fences. I think that's very brave and forward-thinking. Solo got beat, though. You know, got some good R figures, got beat. Another Paul Nicholls disappointing run. Over at Haydock, Famous Bridge, Rundown Burrows Diamond with Credo back in third in the Tommy Whittle, the 3-mile 1. You could see Famous Bridge aimed at something like the Scottish National now, I wonder. And then potentially next season, something like the Grand National, obviously, for Trevor Hemmings. Nothing really caught my eye in that race other than that. The 150, so Captain Matan ran no sort of race for Paul Nicholls. Another one for Paul Nicholls, ran no sort of race, disappointing. And the fact that we're able to highlight quite a few Paul Nicholls horses that are running poorly, you might be able to give horses another chance next time if they can bounce back, if Paul gets his horses back into form. So we are going to put that down. Ran no race. Didn't jump amazingly out the back. Didn't jump well out the back. Paul's horses were poor all weekend. So yeah, that's one thing I quite like to do, is look for those horses that maybe there was a reason why they ran so poorly. And the fact that he went off 5-2, clearly a lot was thought, but he's still, you know, I think the Paul Nicholls form came into it more than anything else here. Of the race, looking at those that did finish, Harper's Brook, so unlucky, did everything right apart from cross that finish line in front. Chambleu almost won, which would have been a nightmare. Chambleu won the Calto Star, or the Feltham, or whatever it's called now, the 3-mile Grade 1 a few years back. There is a handicap in February over 3 mile. I've talked about it for a number of different horses, Bold Endeavour being one, Phlegmatic, who I'll mention in a minute, being another. Chambleu finishing third, staying on strongly over 2 mile 2. That's a great prep run for whatever they're looking at. This was not his target today. Although it was worth 18 grand, this was not his target. A horse that wants 3 mile, they dropped him back to 2 mile 2. I think that was just to make sure he got round and completed. He has. I think we could be very interested in him next time. Move on to the 225 at Ascot, and this was like, I pulled my hair out when Crambo crossed the line in front. How did he lose a handicap for us and then goes and wins the Grade 1? I mean, that's just so frustrating. Another horse to have done that for us. Of those in behind, so Blue King Daru, he's got to go for like the... For a couple of reasons. One, he's Paul Nicholls, and actually he's run quite well. Two, I don't think he stayed the 3 mile. He was stepping up from 2 mile 3 to 3 mile. He hasn't stayed. He's also been outstayed by horses that really stay. All three of those, Crambo, Paisley Park, Dasher Drescher Champ, are proper stayers. Blue King Daru has just been outstayed. Drop him back in trip. Go for the National Spirit Hurdle, I think it's over 2 mile 3, and then the Aintree Hurdle at Aintree, believe it or not, over 2.5 mile. And I think we might see Blue King Daru probably at least pick up that National Spirit and turn up as the second favourite behind Constitution Hill at Aintree. He's one that will be interesting when he drops back in trip. Remember, he's only 4 as well. I think there's plenty more to come from him. Moving on to the 3 o'clock, just see if we've got the result come through yet. I know it is our end. Yes, we have now got the result. The disappointing horse-ish was Flash Cologne. He wants a trip. I have a feeling they'll be working back from that Scottish National with him, so don't worry about that too much. Phlegmatic, this one, I thought he ran really well, and I thought he was just beaten by 2 horses that potentially, quite well handicapped. He's another one, though, that could end up in that race at Haydock. So he ran in this race, the 3 mile handicap at Haydock last year, and he ran this 145.8. That came off a mark of 135. He's ran today off 137. If the handicapper goes, well, he was never going to win that, which he might drop him another £1 or maybe 2. If he drops him £1, drops him to 136, it'd be £1 higher than when finishing second, beating a neck in a handicap worth 85 grand. We know Dan Skelton loves to win big handicaps. We know he loves to plot them. I think that could be where we see Phlegmatic next. So let's just keep an eye out for his mark. Kempton, check handicap mark. Whoops, handicap mark 135 last year. Create Nagme. So yeah, Phlegmatic. I will give one more chance to at Kempton, as that was a decent run. I just thought he didn't quite get out in time. He missed the last as well. If he jumped the last, I think he would have been finishing alongside Yeah Man. The fact that he didn't, the handicapper might look at that and give him a little bit more leeway than he will Yeah Man, for example. What have I got my Twitter open for? Don't know. And then finally, we move on to the 335. Just want to see if we've got the race result for that yet. Doesn't look like it. But the winner was Lucia. She has obviously suggested that she is a good mare. She beat Impose Trois with Outer Belly back in third. Now, Outer Belly ran all the way around the outside, which I thought was really disappointing as a ride. Would he have won? I don't know. He would have certainly been closer because the amount of ground he gave away. And he wasn't beaten that far in the end, really. Let's just find out how far he was beaten. He was beaten a total of just over 1.25 lengths. 1.5 lengths. I mean, he gave away more than that going around the outside. I think he might go back up in trip next time. And I'm definitely looking forward to seeing him over fences. He looks a big horse, to be honest. Lucia winning, Impose Trois finishing second. So Impose Trois finishing second even kind of suggests that he finished second. He had previously been beaten by Brentford Hope. Brentford Hope had previously beaten Bad and who did he beat? Hansard. Hansard ran okay. Bad didn't. Bad ran bad. And yeah, I think that race from Bad was too good to be true, to be honest. And he is one that I'm definitely keen to go on again next time. So there's quite a few that actually I'm not totally writing them off next time. Rebel Intentions, I think, can bounce back. Clearly ran no race. Authorised Speed, I think was going to win. Fell. Bad ran no race. His form does look strong still. And Immortal's probably the one that I don't want to be that keen on unless it finds a really, really weak race. My Tight needs to go back over hurdles. Wouldn't be interested really in that over fences. It jumped appallingly. This race is worth looking at again. Go and see your eye catchers from that bumper. Wrapped Up in May, maybe when Paul Nicholls gets his horses back into form. Little Miss Dante away from Haydock. Nothing really there. Chambleu, go to Kempton for that 3-mile handicap. And Captain Matan could come back for something at Ascot when Paul's got his horses back in better form. Blue King Daru, Paul's horses aren't in form. Annie ran okay, didn't stay, dropping back in trip for the National Spirit Hurdle. Phlegmatic to Kempton for that 3-mile handicap against Chambleu. So Chambleu versus Phlegmatic would be a great race for me. Flash Cologne when he goes back up in trip. There'll be some races for him. Possibly the Scottish National might be where they're working back from. And finally, Outer Belly. Yeah, probably needs a bit further now. And maybe fences will be when we really see Outer Belly at his best. But once again, I apologise for my recent results. They have been they've been very poor. We will turn that tide very soon, I'm sure.